welcome to another episode of Inspiration Talks. In this episode, we'll be talking about freelancing. As you all know that when COVID started, we all shifted our work online. And so for that reason, we will be discussing about freelancing in this episode to make you aware how can you earn by sitting at home via freelancing. So for that, I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Wajiha. So before any delay, let me welcome Wajiha. Assalamualaikum Wajiha.
Walaikum salam. Hi, Laiva. It's great to be here with you.
So Wajiha, can you tell what is freelancing? Like as
Okay.
COVID started, many people have shifted their work online. So what do you think is freelancing?
All right. Freelancing is a way of being self-employed. Freelancers sometimes use it as a side job, but a lot of people actually do it as their main career as well. It's when you get projects from companies or individuals, entrepreneurs, and you work based on a project. For example, when I work as a writer, I have to write, for example, I have to write articles for blogs, or sometimes I copyright, so I write product descriptions for someone's online store. As a freelancer, you work based on certain number of tasks that you have to complete. It's not like getting paid a fixed amount every month and then you have job responsibilities. It could be long term, but mostly it's a short term thing. You get paid for certain tasks.
Okay, so who can become freelancers?
Basically anybody who has a skill that can be applied to a project. For example, I have family members who work as freelance graphic designers, freelance video editors, and like I said, if there is a project, for example, someone needs to make an ad or a YouTube video, then a video editor could just work for that one particular video, get paid for it, and that's it. Their freelance gig is over. Similarly, writers can do this. People do freelance. The virtual assistants are really in now. These people, they do admin tasks online. They answer emails, they answer calls, make calendars. So anyone who has these kind of skills can become a freelancer.
Okay, who hires freelancers?
Right. Anywhere from big businesses and big industries to small businesses and startups. I once worked with an entrepreneur who had an online jewelry store, and his entire staff was made of freelancers. I was a copywriter for him. I wrote content sometimes. His graphic designer was a freelancer. His Shopify page front end developer was a freelancer. So sometimes a whole business is made on freelancers. Sometimes a big company like Disney or Google or someone like that may hire a freelancer to work on their marketing, for example, or their graphics. So all kinds of businesses can hire freelancers.
Okay, great. So now I would like to know what are the advantages of freelancing?
Right. Some of the basic advantages are that you get to work remotely, you get to work from home, and you choose your own timing. You can take as many tasks as you can at one point. For example, if you have 3 really big projects, you may be making more money than you would from a day job, and that too by saving time and by working at your own pace. But then there are disadvantages as well. If you don't get a project, then you don't have a steady income, a steady paycheck to rely on. But a lot of times, if you're successful, you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly, right. So do you think, like as you're also a student, so would you suggest to students that do freelancing along with your studies?
I would definitely recommend it. I would say that it's one of the best things that a student can do, especially in the UAE. Options for students to work in the UAE are kind of limited. And that's why a platform like the internet where you can earn money is a great one to at least try.
Okay, right. So how can one start freelancing?
Right. There are lots of different websites who help you set up a profile so that you can find clients. I personally use Upwork. A lot of people love Fiverr. Then there are lots of these. So you can also build a professional profile. A lot of people use LinkedIn. If you're a creative person, you have to have your own portfolio on a separate website. But the first place to begin is set up a profile which you can use to tell people, look, this is what I do, and if you want this done, I can do it for you, you know?
Okay, right. So what are the best websites for freelancing? Like for example, if someone is a beginner, so what websites are best for them to start with? Because a lot of people
I
get confused by seeing a lot of websites.
Yes, I personally prefer Upwork, but that's just because I've been using it for more than 6 years now. I was on Upwork back when it was still Odesk. So I've used it for a long time, but a lot of people nowadays really love Fiverr. And there's freelancer.com as well, and every industry has its own freelance websites as well. So depending on what your skills are, you might want to Google it and do a little bit of research. But do remember that a lot of agencies and companies do take their own cut out of your earnings. And that's because it's a service charge. You're using their platform to sell your service, and so they will take a little bit. But sites like Upwork are very safe and secure to use. And if you have a problem with a client who refuses to pay, then Upwork also mediates the conflict. And that's why I would recommend Upwork. But people do really like Fiverr as well.
So as Fiverr and Upwork are almost same, like they both have same categories.
Mm-hmm.
So what will you prefer? Or what would
Right.
you like to suggest to people that choose this? This is much better than this, or this is much better than that.
Okay. See, Fiverr, you sell your services as a product. For example, if I'm going to make a website, I'll say I'll make a website of 5 pages for this much money. All right. That's the product I'm selling. On Upwork, I can sell my service hourly. So I can say if I'm going to make you a website, it doesn't matter how big you want it. I'm going to charge a flat rate of, for example, $50 per hour or $70 per hour. The rates vary a lot, and you find freelancers who charge anywhere from the lowest of the low to the highest possible rate. But the difference in Fiverr and Upwork here is mainly this. Now Upwork also has this option of selling your service as a product. They call it a project. But if you want that flexibility, I recommend Upwork. But Upwork does have, I believe, a higher cut. They take 20% of whatever you make um, if you're making below $500. So it's up to you. At the end of the day, people have their own preference, but I do recommend Upwork because I've used it more.
Okay, so how much a person can earn via Upwork monthly, like in journal? Like as
Okay,
you have
the
experience, so
problem
how
with
much do you think can one
yes.
can earn if they are beginners?
Beginners. Okay, when you're a beginner, it's really hard to land your first job because your profile is really fresh. You don't have
Yeah,
any
that's true.
ratings yet. You don't have a success rate yet, and so it's really hard to get your first job. In that case, you have to at least you put your portfolio up there. You have to put pictures of things you've made, or you have to have testimonials for people you've worked for, that even maybe for your university or your college or your school. But you do need to build credibility in order to land your first job. And your first few jobs may not pay very well, but you're doing them to get a rating in the beginning. So for beginners, it's not going to pay a whole lot. But and even when you're getting more and more senior, it's important to keep growing your profile. If you keep working at beginner rates, you're never going to see that growth in your income. So it's important to brand yourself, and it's important to charge the right prices. And having said that, people make anywhere between, again, it's up to the individual. Some people don't make anything for a whole month, no matter how much they've applied. Other people have made 6 figures. So it depends on the freelancer. And again, depending on your skill, you could make anywhere between $100 upwards. But again, this is not a fixed amount that you're guaranteed. That's the problem with freelancing. You have to time it right, sell it right. A little bit of effort goes into these things.
Yeah, true. So how many hours do you think a freelancer should spend per day?
These are See, the thing about freelancing is it's up to you, right? Maybe you're charging
Exactly.
enough that you don't even have to work the normal 9 to 5. So maybe depends on the kind of projects you're able to land and the money you're charging for it. You have to set a goal. Okay, this is how much money I want to make this month. And then it's up to you to choose a target of how many hours I want to work. Based on that, you can charge a rate, or if the hours are not a problem, then you have to focus on the rate. Basically, it's up to you, essentially.
Exactly, you're right. So many people usually give up, like for example, especially the beginners, if they start and if they try and try, but they still don't get any client. if they still don't get any clients, so they feel like it's better not to use this freelancing website and they give up. So any tips for those people who don't give up and keep trying, they try so that they can attain something later?
Okay, I completely understand getting demotivated, especially in the last few years, especially after COVID. A lot of people have rushed to places like Upwork and Fiverr, and they're giving unrealistically low rates. So, for example, if a freelancer is charging, let's say, $2 an hour, that's really hard to compete with. It's not like they're making a lot, but client may want to hire. So, what you have to remind yourself is you have to know what your work is worth, charge according to that. Don't be afraid to use your network. Ask people who you may know. They may be friends, family, they may be teachers, people you've worked with. Ask them, hey, are you looking for example, if you're a writer, are you looking for a writer? Are you looking for a developer? This is what I'm doing now. So if you know anybody, let me know. You can land jobs like that, and just remind yourself why you started in the first place. If your motivation wasn't strong, of course it's easy to give up. But at the end of the day, you're getting a lot of flexibility. And if that's something you feel is worth fighting for, remember that it is worth fighting for and keep going.
That's right, actually, totally agree with you. So, can you tell what traits should beginners keep in order to get clients?
Okay, that's a really good question. And it's a personal one. It depends on what the beginner feels like they want to make. Before you start going for applying for any job, you have to ask yourself, how much money do you want to make? Again, do you want to make a certain amount of money in a month or from a certain project? You have to have that target in mind. And then you have to ask yourself, how many hours am I willing to work? Daily or monthly or weekly? Set that. And once you have those two things in front of you, you'll realize how much money you want to make.
In start. And for example, if one
But
gets
that's like,
jobs, yeah,
again, that's not necessarily just for beginners, because it doesn't matter where you stand in your seniority. I would recommend, don't undersell yourself. If you're worth more, ask for more, even if you're a beginner, because it's very easy to get trapped in one small rate. A lot of people start by charging really low rates, and then Upwork or websites like that start giving them only jobs of that rate. So don't do that. Just ask for what you think you're worth and then sell yourself accordingly. When you're applying, you don't just put your rate forward, you also give a cover letter, and make the cover letter personal, so when the person reads it, they feel your personality shine through, and then they'll want to work with you more. Don't give the generic, dear sir, I am writing in order to. No, make it conversational, and then you will likely get more responses. But
so
don't
what
undersell
point,
yourself.
okay, so what points should be added in cover letter?
Right. That's a great question, and I had to really learn that the hard way. Number one, don't treat it like a cover letter normal one, because a site like Upwork is not the same as LinkedIn. So make it more conversational. You can start with, hi, I writing regarding something like that. But how I like to do it is, whatever the person had in the job description, I say, hi, I saw that you asked for, and then I say whatever requirements were there, and then I say, and you're looking for someone who add a few more requirements, and then I say, that's where I come in. Then I start talking about myself. A lot of people, they start by going, I saw your post and I have done this, that's why you should hire me. No, address their needs first. That's how you write a good cover letter, basically.
Okay, so many people write like around 5 to 6 paragraphs. Do you think they should write 5 to 6 paragraphs in cover letter for any job?
Right. I cannot talk about conventional jobs, but for freelancing, especially on sites like Upwork, I would recommend trying to keep it short and sweet. Like when we talk, we don't go
Like
on for too long for
approximately
no
how many
reason.
words? Sorry to interrupt. How many words?
No worries. Every job is different. I have never really stuck to a certain word limit. Sometimes the job is complicated, so you have more stuff to talk about. Sometimes it's a really easy job. In that case, you just quickly address it. Say that you asked for this. I can do it this way, and I have done this. If you're interested, get in touch. Then they do get in touch.
Okay. Okay, so Wajiha, do you think can one make a career with freelancing?
Yes. It's a good question. But the thing is, you just have to be really persistent, and you have to work through the gaps. A lot of people do face slumps in freelancing. There will be times when you don't have a project. Doesn't mean you'll never have a project again. It requires a lot of strength, a lot of perseverance. And if you're the sort of person who prefers a steady paycheck and security, it's better you stick with a conventional job. But if you really do want the flexibility and the ability to make as much money at one time or take on as many projects as you can in one point in time, then you should consider it. You can make a career out of freelancing, and people have made a lot of money with it as well.
Yeah, that's true. Many people have become successful freelancers and they have earned a lot. And usually people say also freelancing is better than the normal job. What do you think about this sentence? Is freelancing much better than that normal job, full-time job?
It depends. It depends on the kind of person you are. Maybe you prefer the stability and the structure that comes with a conventional 9 to 5. It gives you order, it gives you timing, a set time at which you have to wake up to go to work and all that. A lot of people need that because they don't have it internally, so they need it externally. For those people, a job is great. But if you're the kind of person who prefers to set those things for themselves, like I don't want something to tell me what time I can eat lunch, I don't want someone to tell me what time I have to report to work, then, and if it's like a make or break deal for you, then the only way to go about that is a freelancing career, or maybe entrepreneurship.
That's right. And it was great talking with you on this topic, freelancing. I hope many people get benefit from this video and they get more and more jobs and they get all the answers which they needed.
Thank you, Laiba. It was really great being here with you, and I'm glad I could have been of help and I could share what I know about freelancing with you and everyone who follows your channel.